And they believed that if they conducted some experiments, they would be able to find the key to eternal youth and even immortality.
Oh my goodness. Of course. Of course, that is the situation here. They're trying to conduct some satanic ritual on you. It makes complete sense. No moi, it's Joinen, and you may have heard of My Story Animated and other such true story animated channels. Now, to a varying degree, these different channels will claim that their stories are true, or they'll just simply imply. But sometimes you come across a channel that is just straight up trying to convince you that every story they're telling is the truth, happened to a real life person. Enter Meet My Story. They're probably fairly new at 263,000 subscribers, but you can kind of tell by the thumbnails that this is the standard stuff. Now it's just here streaming on Twitch, deciding what video to watch, when I came across I Was Born Old, but every day I'm getting younger. Interested, I went onto the channel. I hadn't heard of this one before. And in their About section, they have this to say. Meet My Story is a channel with full of real life animated stories for everyone. Our viewer share their real life stories with us, and we turn them into animation. Needless to say, I'm slightly confused. You're saying these are real life stories sent in by real people, yet this woman is claiming to be Benjamin Button in real life. I figured as the resident true story police, I had to chime in and get to the bottom of all of this.
Hello everyone, my name is Cora, just Cora, and I want to share with you my mysterious story about how day by day I'm getting younger. In my case, time is on my side. Every minute and every second fills me with beauty and energy.
What? I can't even begin to understand where this story is going or how this is going to make any sense. Maybe she just means like at heart. As I get older, I become more in touch with enjoying the little things in life, and I feel more childlike. I really hope this video doesn't go there.
In my life, everything is really weird and confusing because I was born a very old and wrinkled granny. My mom says that during the first years, she even felt a bit uncomfortable raising me and teaching me something because she thought that I was many times older than she was.
How? What? When we're watching My Story Animated, the story always starts off fairly believable and you're on for this ride and you're like, yeah, I can follow this. I can see how this is going. And inevitably some major turn happens and you're like, that seems a bit plot convenient. And then it just gets more ridiculous and more ridiculous. And they're not even claiming to be true. This one is claiming to be true. And in the first 36 seconds, we just have absolute nonsense about a woman giving birth to a grandma.
But when I was born, I gradually began to grow younger, which means that less and less people became bothered with my venerable age, or rather my appearance. People around me say that while I looked as if I was about 80 or 90 years old when I was born, now no one thinks that I'm more than 70.
Good on you. You don't look a day over 70, my girl. How old is she? Did she actually explain how old she is?
But let's get back to my birth. My parents were very scared when they saw me for the first time. Well, actually, everyone was frightened of me. Nobody remained indifferent to an elderly baby.
Nobody remained indifferent to an elderly baby. You were plastered on newspapers everywhere. It was worldwide news. All of us have heard about the elderly baby. I would suspect would be the case. I don't understand. How can they be claiming that this is true?
And the problem is not only in the way I look, because in addition to this, I have the health of an elderly woman. But that begins to grow younger together with my appearance. According to my estimates, by the age of 60, I will recover completely and be full of vitality and energy. This is really interesting, isn't it? When stories about me were published in newspapers and magazines, there were even some people who wanted to abduct me. For the first time, this happened right in the maternity hospital.
Someone abducted you in the maternity hospital? They're not even trying to make this seem believable. This is ridiculous. She's saying that it was all over newspapers, people were trying to abduct her. You don't think, like, scientists would be trying to get on her case? You know, she holds the literal secret to reversing age. Abduction. Hey, buddy, you hear about that? You hear about that elderly baby? I'll bet she would fetch a pretty penny. Let's go snatch her. This ain't right. I cannot believe how ridiculous this story is.
Some stranger wearing a doctor's white coat sneaked into the medical facility.
That is not a stranger wearing a doctor's white coat. He could not look more conspicuous. Like, if you're a thief, don't dress up like this. Look at the face of that baby.
But I woke up and started crying loudly. My mother heard me crying and quickly ran to the place from where the sound was heard. In short, thanks to her maternal instinct, I was saved. But the mysterious stranger managed to escape, so no one could find out who he was and what he wanted.
Okay, that little plot line there of someone attempting to steal her as a baby, that is the plot line of a My Story Animated. Something where you're like, seems kind of unbelievable, but I'm sure it's happened to someone. But that's just a minor plot point in this story.
The second time someone tried to abduct me was when I was less than 1 year old. In fact, the criminal was so bold and rude that he took me from my mother's hands right on the street. Can you imagine that?
No.
He was arrested and sent to a pre-trial detention center, but no one knew his motives because on the very first day after his arrest, he was killed.
Oh my goodness. Of course he was killed. They're trying to set the record here for the most unbelievable true story going around on YouTube.
After that, my parents and I moved to another city as it was really uncomfortable to stay in the place where we felt that we were under constant surveillance. But then there was the third attempt to abduct me. Sometime before this happened, one of the high school students decided to take pictures of me for fun and...
High school students? Wait, she's high school? She's in high school at this point and people are still trying to abduct her. For what purpose? What is their obsession with abducting this lady? This old shriveled lady.
I knew nothing about the fact that someone was taking photos of me. I got to know this only after the abduction, when I was rescued. By the way, that girl turned out to be a famous blogger, and that is why the feed of her account was very noticeable. So at that time, I was 6 or 7 years old. I was at school and a group of armed...
Wait, what? Okay, she wasn't in high school. It was just a high school student taking photos of her as a 6 or 7-year-old. How tall is she in this situation? That's what I'm wondering. She was a baby, so clearly she was very small. So she's like a 6 or 7-year-old, but she looks like she's 80. What happens when she gets really old? Like when she reaches like 90, is she a baby? Wait. If she is born baby-sized, yet grandma aged, does that mean when she reaches 90, she's gonna look like a baby, but she's gonna be the size of a 90-year-old? She's gonna be like an adult baby? Wait, does she just look old, or does she have the mentality too? Well, she said she had the health of an 80-year-old, so you would think that like most of it would be 80. Like what is 80 and what isn't, is my question. Giant baby from Spirited Away. Yeah, exactly. The QR code at 255 takes you to Rickroll. That's kind of funny. Wait, does that mean the secret was there all along? They're trolling us. You're saying the story isn't true?
And a group of armed men broke into the classroom right during the lesson. Under a gun, they ordered everyone to keep silent and stay where they were. Then they put me in some kind of bag and carried me away. Although they did not take into account that there was a bug in my pendant, which my parents foreseeingly placed there, and after 15 minutes, a group of special police arrested my captors.
Okay, sure, fine. Whatever. Just anything goes, right? And then a handsome man came and kissed you on the lips, and you turned into a butterfly and flew away. And everybody clapped.
They said that there existed some secret community of gerontologists who were very interested in my phenomenon, and they believed that if they conducted some experiments, they would be able to find the key to eternal youth and even immortality.
Oh my goodness. Of course. Of course, that is the situation here. They're trying to conduct some satanic ritual on you. It makes complete sense. When the writers write themselves into a corner and just have to make up stuff to keep the story going, they had to from the very beginning. I completely understand, like, actual scientists wanting to, like, get her in to do tests on her and stuff like that for that same reason, to study the anti-aging effects with going on inside her body and all that kind of thing. Why wouldn't they just leave it there rather than having to, like, get some satanic cult involved?
But for this, they would need me, and they promised a $100,000 reward to anyone who would be able to kidnap and bring me to them. Well, it was a good
yes.
offer for those who needed money, especially since gerontologists themselves were hoping to get billions of dollars after they learned the secret of eternal life thanks to me. Tricky, greedy, and smart loafers.
I don't think it's too unfair to say that you almost have some sort of obligation just to humanity to, let some people do some tests, maybe just get some of your cells, or I don't know how it works. But like, if I had within me the possible answer to reversing aging that could save billions of lives, I'd be like, okay, I'll come in, I'll get some tests done. I wouldn't necessarily be calling people who want to do the tests greedy. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's kind of fair enough. Humane stuff. I'm not talking ridiculous things here.
Of course, no one managed to find that secret community, which meant that I needed to continue to protect myself from them.
So you became Batman. You employed a butler, you built a Batmobile, and you got really good at throwing ninja stars. Right? I hope that's where this story goes. This has to all be for a point. Is there going to be a punchline at the end that then contextualizes this and then makes us all go, now it all makes sense. But then they could say it's not them who are lying, but the viewers who send the stories are. It's all a part of their evil plan. I guess so. But like, no one's buying this, right? Like, it's obvious to everyone that this is not a true story. Wait, is this fake? I don't know. We're gonna have to continue to find out.
But that was not my only problem. The second problem was very tense relationships with my classmates, and actually with everyone. People despised me for my appearance and constantly laughed at me. This hurt so much.
Yeah, well, who's going to be laughing when you're 60 and you're over here looking like a 20-year-old? You put in the hard yards now. You have a feeling that this is fake? What?
Even when all of my classmates were preparing dance performances for the school holidays, I was never invited to participate because my appearance was not appropriate for this.
Yeah, and you got old bones. Like, 80-year-olds should not be dancing. It's actually for your own good. I mean, sure, you can kind of hobble around a little bit, but you don't want to be like doing backflips and stuff. Not at your age. Think about your health.
I was on stage just one time in my life when I played the role of Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother in one of the performances. And I really wanted to be a princess or Snow White at least once in my life. It is impossible to describe how disgusting I felt.
You'll get there. You'll grow up and become a young little kid, just like the rest of us. Okay, I got here late. Is this chick claiming to have Benjamin Button disease? Exactly. That is exactly what she's claiming. And this is supposedly a true story. She also had attempted abductions on her by some cult that think that if they sacrifice her, they'll get the secret to immortality. Just the usual stuff. Just the real life stuff. That is definitely true.
But once, someone told my classmates the following when they were making fun of me again. Now you can laugh at her, but after 30 years, she will laugh at you because you will be standing in front of the mirrors and feel so sad looking at new wrinkles while Cora will enjoy her daily rejuvenation.
That's what I'm saying. The problem is you can't really use that trick because no one believes you. How did they know when she was a baby that she had reverse aging syndrome? You don't think she just looks like a wrinkly baby? They don't have anything to compare it to yet. She hasn't aged yet. They don't know that she's reverse aging. They just know she looks old. Even now, she looks like an 80-year-old. It's probably pretty similar to what she looked like when she was a baby. She's just looked old this whole time. Who's to say she's actually reversing in age? So you can't really use that trick on these people. They're like, oh, well, you just wait. 30 years from now, you'll have wrinkles and I won't. And they're like, why? Why would you have wrinkles? You have wrinkles now. They're not going to get better. Nobody is thinking that she's actually reversing in age at this point. She has no proof.
And it dawned on me that this was indeed so. I just had to be patient for some time, and then I would become prettier, more beautiful, and younger.
And not only that, how does she know? How does she know that she's reversing aging at this point? If she is like in high school or whatever and she's like 80-year-old, she still looks pretty old. How does she have any idea that she's reversing in age?
After that, my classmates became more lenient towards me, and I started being proud of my uniqueness. Once, guys from the intelligence agency came to our home and said that the gerontologists changed the amount of remuneration for me. They increased the sum by 5 times. In addition, they did not have the requirement of taking me alive anymore. They would
Just a small little tidbit here. If it was 100,000 to begin with and they increased it by 5 times, that would make it 600,000, not 500,000. If they times it by 5, the math does not check out.
It turned out that they had done some research and realized that it was enough for them to have my cells to create the elixir of eternal youth.
Just send them a piece of hair, you know what I mean? Get a little scratch, get a little bit of skin off. If you just need some cells, it's not that hard. But just snort a booger into a tub. I don't know. If it's going to take a hit off your back, just give him something to work with. Who cares?
There was only one option. My parents and I had to give up everything, break family as well as friendship ties, and start a new life on another continent where...
Just give him some cells. This is not worth it. Starting a new life on a new continent, ditching your friends and family. Give them the cells. Let them have the secret to eternal life.
There was no time for reflection at all because my life was at stake. We had to take action as soon as possible, so my parents and I temporarily turned off our emotions and feelings. It took us 2 days to pack our belongings.
Geez, that is a creepy person in the window right there.
In a new place, I underwent plastic surgery, which made me look 40 years younger. But at the same time, my hands remained old and wrinkled, so I will have to wear gloves until I become young completely.
What? What? Okay. Before we get on to what's happening on screen there, she got plastic surgery. What? How old is she at this point? Does she still look 80? How do they know she's reverse aging? I got plastic surgery and that was my reverse aging. That is how the My Story animated story would go. It would be some story about how something led her to get plastic surgery and so she's reverse aging or something. But we have Rick and Morty here just in the background sitting in this cafeteria. That's the secret. It all makes sense. It's something to do with Rick. Rick used his portal gun, or he's got some experiment that he's doing. This is just a crossover episode.
And for my new classmates, I've come up with a story that once I got burned in the fire, so now my hands are so scary and ugly that I cannot show them to anyone. I am hiding under clothes all the other parts of my body, except my face.
And this mesh top with such intricate patterns on it. The glove is backwards. Don't you know, the effects of reverse aging also reverse your hands.
Now I have a great relationship with my classmates. I began to get used to living...
There's Godzilla in the background. I'm not even going to get into the Godzilla thing.
The only unresolved issue is that it always seems to me that someone is constantly watching me and I am about to be abducted. I shy away from all strangers and passing cars. I suspect that classmates and even teachers are in collusion with...
There he is again. See, there's something going on here. This is Rick and Morty have something to do with this.
Gerontologists, and I'm afraid that I will have to hide again.
I still don't understand how she knows that she reverse ages. If she still looked old when she got plastic surgery to make her look young, and her hands still look like old people's hands, how does she know that she reverse ages? How does she know she wasn't just born looking old?
I think that after 20 years, I will look my age or slightly older than this, and then I'll be able to finally blend into my surroundings and I'll not have to be so suspicious and constantly worried that there can be enemies and traitors around me. And I'm also thinking about how I can realize myself in the future, if it is possible at all. I think I would be able to create my own brand as well as a line of anti-aging cosmetics and...
What? What is she... Fitting. Very fitting. What does she do? Does she cut some skin off and grind it in a mortar and pestle and put it in a tub?
But the gerontologists are on the alert, and I'm sure that they are surfing the net around the clock, searching for my traces all over the world.
Yeah, and starting an anti-aging cream ad is definitely not going to put a target on your back, is it?
This means that I should try to find myself in another area, doing something that does not involve publicity.
Exactly.
It's difficult, and there are still many crises ahead of me. Would you like to be forever young? How would you take this opportunity?
I still see no evidence of the claim that she gets younger. There was no story here about her getting older/younger at all. She started off old, and she still looked old when the story was done, and she was just dreaming about how she's gonna look young. Maybe the story's actually true. Maybe this person was just born looking old and they just assume that means that they're gonna look younger as they get older. And so they write in this whole story, and Meet My Story is like, okay, I guess we'll animate it. There wasn't even an ending, no conclusion, nothing satisfactory. There wasn't even any evidence of the claim. I know this is not true. Don't trust everything you find online. Guys, is she crazy? Because this don't make no damn sense. You're right. It makes no damn sense. I don't know. We've looked at so many of these at this point, and this is just so bizarre that they're trying to claim that this story is true. It's just a dumb story, even if it isn't true. There's almost no story element to it, but whatever. If you want to join this chat, come over to twitch.tv/Joinen, but on Twitch, where we do this live. It's pretty fun. And if you want some of the sweet lemon carton merch, you can get that in the description below. It's got a cute little lemon carton on it. And I'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching my video, but now that it's done, please watch another one.